Now, a new episode of our podcast has dropped today with Kaye and Nadia. In it, Kaye opens up about her changing relationships with her daughters as they go from children to adults.
You're very close to your girls, I'm very close to my girls. It's interesting because now we're transitioning into a more adult relationship. But, I mean, Charlie is now... My maths has gone. She'll be 23 in the summer and Bonnie's 18, and they're both really mature. So our relationship is changing.
Janet, did your relationship change with your mum when you became an adult?
My relationship with my mother changed when I lost my virginity. I think we'll be a bit vague about when that was. It wasn't very good anyway, but I think...
How did she know?
Do you know what? She's just had a thyroid operation and she was lying in a hospital bed and I went in to see her the next day and her eyes narrowed and she knew.
Yeah, your mum knows.
They just know. But
the audacity.
It wasn't very good before that because I used to go out a lot to music clubs and stuff and I was always home late, in trouble with my mum and dad. So... and set that against the fact that I was at grammar school and they wanted me to do my homework and do really well, which is kind of understandable. But I was also a complete snob and I thought they were the wrong parents. I couldn't believe they were my parents because I was so stylish and gorgeous in my eyes. So we got on really, really badly. Really, really badly.
And that worsened just before you legally became an adult?
Yeah, and I think also I've watched my friends who had teenagers try and, you know, my friends who are younger, slightly younger than me, what they did with their teenage daughters in particular was try and be their best friends, take them clubbing. My sister used to take her son out to clubs with her because she wanted him to be her friend and her... And I think, whilst that's nice on one level, I think it stores up problems later because you want your children to be able to grow up and be independent and do things for themselves, and you can be suffocating.
But I mean, I've hung out a million times with you and Tanisha B.
Exactly.
And you have an incredibly close relationship.
Yeah,
and she is one of your best friends.
She is like my best friend, and you know, she's kind of like, you know, I say I have girlfriends, but she's like my girlfriend that I can turn to, and I have no qualms in speaking to her about if I'm going through anything personal that's worrying me. And the reason I do that is because I think that she can learn from, say, my mistakes, for example, if you know, rather than keeping it to myself. But going out and hanging out with her, going out clubbing and stuff, maybe I do that because I didn't do it when I was younger, because I had them younger, so that was my going out phase done. But, you know, for relationship advice and things like that, she still listens to me, and I don't think it's harmed our relationship in any way. And she's actually sometimes more adult than I am, which...
Having been out with the both of you, yes, that's true.
She's more adult than I am, and I respect that. But, you know, it comes into Mummy's Zone. We were speaking about it, and, you know, she said to me the other day that she does now think about the fact that I've not had a mother since I was 4 years old, and how our relationship, I think, is different because of that. And I'm even more... I guess I am a bit more mummying to them because I didn't have my mum there, but I can still put my foot down and I'm still strict. That doesn't mean I'm a walkover, by no means.
Kelly, what's your... I mean, how did your relationship change, if it did at all, when you became an adult?
It's really interesting, because I think for a long time, I let my mum kind of dictate a lot of my life, like what you're saying. Like, we were very close, and she was, we were, like, she was really young when she had me, and so we were really close and kind of best friends and went on holidays together and did a lot of things. And then I think as I got older and I started wanting to make more grown-up decisions, like get married or get engaged or move to another country, I found that it was kind of hindering those decisions because, in a way, I think that she maybe felt like she was losing control a little bit. So then you get the judgment and you get the criticism and you get the fear of, you know, you can't do that and you can't do this. And then you just have to kind of set really clear boundaries. And when you start setting those boundaries as an adult, from my side, that's when the friction starts. And I've found I've got a much harder relationship with my mum now I'm a woman than when maybe I was a younger girl in my 20s. Because I don't want to be dictated to. I don't want to be told I can't do something. I don't want to be told that it's the wrong decision. I want to figure that out for myself.
I think that's the difference, I think, between, say, me and Brenda and you guys, is because you know, you lost your mum when you were very young. I lost my mum in my early 20s. So neither of us have had a mum as an adult. So I think with our kids, we are very much treading water to try and do things the right way because we haven't got a blueprint in order to be able to live by. And I think, I think I'll probably end up being like a really motherly mother even when they're older because I didn't have that as an adult, and I'd really love my kids to experience that. Because from what I've heard from people,
But would you like that as an adult, though?
I'd love it. I'd love it. And
Helicopter mum
so
now.
my aunt does that. If I'm ill, especially when we live near each other, if I was ill, she'd rock up to my house
Get
with a
that
pot of
chicken
soup
soup out.
and what have
Exactly.
you, and like you know, look after me and stuff. And I loved that. So you know, I think it's a really interesting relationship, whichever way it plays out. I think when mums are concerned, and you can listen to that new episode of the podcast right now, along with all the other episodes so far. Listen on your usual podcast app or watch it on YouTube, ITVX or the STV player.